All right, I think they call this upping the ante. Welcome, everybody. I'm Neil Cavuto, and it is not just the likes of prominent Democrats like Bill Richardson or Christine Pelosi arguing for all of those electors gathering in 4 days to decide the next leader of the free world. Now, Hollywood is getting in on the act and saying those electors have an obligation to rethink and actually to switch votes. Take a look.
The American people trust that your voice speaks for us all.
And that you will make yourself heard through the constitutional responsibility granted to you by Alexander Hamilton himself.
What is evident is that Donald Trump lacks more than the qualifications to be president.
He lacks the necessary stability.
And clearly the respect for the Constitution of our great nation.
You have position,
the authority,
and the opportunity to go down in the books as an American hero
who changed the course of history.
All right, never mind that Donald Trump won a constitutionally mandated election. Many in Hollywood are not about to let that happen, and if they can use their influence any way possible to make sure it doesn't happen, this personal pitch to the 538 electors who will be gathering next Monday to decide on who will become the next president will be their final, well, sell to former White House top strategist Karl Rove on all of this. Karl, I thought I had heard it all when I talked to Bill Richardson or Christine Pelosi, this notion that we just want to put it out there for the electors to know about Russian involvement in the election. But this is another step, a bigger step. Hollywood saying this isn't even about Russia. This is about you holding faith to what Alexander Hamilton would have wanted, which presumably would not be Donald Trump. What do you think?
Well, I say this with due respect for the great service to our country of President Martin Sheen and his White House Communications Director Richard Schiff. I'm eternally grateful for James Cromwell, who made the first contact with aliens and gave us faster than light travel. I am enthusiastic about the heroism of Noah Wiley in saving us from aliens. And who could forget the selfless service and sacrifice of Mike Farrell and Loretta Swift in the Korean War? But who cares? Who cares? This is completely phony. What they're asking people to do is to ignore the votes of millions of people in their states who elected them as elector and to flake off and vote for somebody else in order to throw this to the House of Representatives, which will then turn around and vote for Donald Trump if this were ever to happen. And there will be one, maybe two faithless electors next Monday, and one of them could well be somebody who refuses to vote for Hillary Clinton. So this is goofy. This is part of a left-wing group called Unite America, and it is a bunch of left-wingers. I have to admit, I have no respect whatsoever for Martin Sheen. He's lecturing us in this sort of condescending way. You'll notice if you see the video, he's constantly going like this, and he looks like a lunatic, and he is a lunatic. I don't have an impartial view of the guy. Here's what he said about George W. Bush. Quote, a white-knuckle drunk. Quote, a moron, quote. By and large, he was a mass murderer. All the people around him and his cabinet and his staff despised one another because wherever they looked, they only saw worse reflections of themselves. I mean, this guy is a lunatic. And the fact that somebody put up good money to put him on television to make this lunatic appeal to people to do something that they will not do in order to undermine people's confidence in the incoming president of the United States is a sign of how desperate the left is and how irresponsible they are.
All right, I'm going to put you down to maybe on this group of Hollywood
Strong
celebrities.
message to follow. Strong message to follow.
Strong message to follow. Warning. You know, but it does come at a time when so many are doing anything and everything they possibly can to, in a Hail Mary pass kind of a deal, now with 4 days before the electors gather, to stop the inevitable, or at least to plant seeds of doubt about the outcome. Whether it's Russian, whether it acted alone, and now even our intelligence agencies aren't on the same page on that one, to mess up the elections, or now to say, vote your conscience, when in fact they don't want them to vote their conscience. They want them to flip the results. But even,
they want Hillary Clinton elected.
They won't get Hillary.
They won't get Hillary.
So
That's
in a
the
Republican state that voted for Donald Trump, the best you could do is vote him, not vote for him, but throw it back in the House where it would be a Republican alternative. So even the method to this madness doesn't make sense.
Exactly right. And look, their goal is not to defeat Donald Trump. They know that's never going to happen. It just is not going to happen. It is more insidious and more dangerous in a way, and that is to undermine the people's ongoing confidence in the president-elect. Now, I've been through this once before. I remember people like Paul Begala and others out there in 2000 and 2001 saying George Bush is not the legitimately elected president of the United States. They were trying to undo the results of a constitutionally established election, a constitutionally run election, and undermine the people's confidence in the sitting president from the get-go. Remember all that criticism the Democrats had about Mitch McConnell saying 2 years after Barack Obama was elected office, you know, we've given up trying to work with the guy. Now we're just going to work on defeating the guy. Well, these people are giving up before the president has even come due. After receiving all these sanctimonious lectures about how Donald Trump had to accept the results of our election and participate in a peaceful transfer of power, now a lot of these same left-wingers are out there trying to do what they can do to weaken our country by unnecessarily undermining the incoming president of the United States. Plenty of time for politics later. This is the moment that we should be unified.